All right, y'all. We are going to give people a little bit of time. Let's see how long it takes for locals to catch on. And Getter should be pretty quick. But nobody knows we're going live here at 3 o'clock except for locals. So I'm going to give people a hot second to kick in while I test which is the best way to show you guys this chart. I think it's going to be like this rather than because I want the mouse to be able to show you guys what's up. But yeah, we'll just have to see. Excellent. So I see locals is rolling now. Maybe you didn't hear a single word of that. Well, no, it takes locals time to like live and then reconnect. Same thing with Getter, by the way. All right, so let's give people a few moments here, and I'm gonna play around with some charts and listen to some music, and hopefully it'll take nothing short of a minute or so. All right, look, didn't even put it on the banner, but I want you to contemplate this as we go. Trump is in danger of falling into the 30s. That is probably, we've already had him at 43, just under. The last published poll we did was 45 or 44, something like that. Go and look, ballpark in that area. But he was only lucky with that because like a 2-day improvement from the time that he was at in the lower 40s. But now he's 41.55. And I know Rasmussen's really close to that too. Let me go and check it out while I'm looking, actually. Where are they? It was Mark and I were talking, but he's going to fall into I think with Rasmussen, he's likely to pop back up. I could be wrong, but our polling is done. Oh God, it's even worse. It's -16. Oof. They're 2 points worse than us, actually, Laura, because we're 41.55. That's going to get worse as we start to scale down and squeeze the registered voter screen. And the reason why is it's because people who are not the most excited they'll like pop back up, guys, when they're interested. And it's an election year, but I'm not talking about a huge response bias here, so don't get it messed up here. There's just I'm calling it a MAGA malaise. And all right, so with that in mind, I think we'll probably keep falling if there's not dramatic improvement, which when I come back here from this like quick minute little break, I'm going to explain to you why I don't think there's going to be a dramatic improvement. And I think we're probably going to keep falling. And I think Trump is going to be at 39 probably by the end of the weekend. And that's tragic. It could be even sooner. That's tragic considering where this coalition started. All right, hang tight. Give it about a minute. Little man, you're making me dizzy, running back and forth. Oh, you like the music? You like Daddy's music? Is that what you know? Look at him go, Laura. Look at him go. This is Master of Puppets, man. This is it. You don't remember Daddy playing this? Daddy and your brother have to get back to playing. I think I'm going to show the big full chart because I think it's the easiest way for everyone to see it. Unless I zoom in on this one. Ah, shoot. Let's see. All right, I think it's this one. Oh, how appropriate, Laura. I didn't even do... Maybe that was a subconscious thing. Playing Master of Puppets on Spotify. Trump is a master of his own self-destruction, you know? Master. All right, plenty of time. I think I got it. I'm actually going to go with the other one. Let's go with the other one. All right, little buddy. Daddy's got to do his show. I got to kill the music, okay? I'll play the rest of it for you when I'm done. All right? Kid loves Master of Puppets. That was awesome. High five, Daddy. High five, Daddy. High five, Daddy. Bam! You remember when poor Eddie went down in Stranger Things?
Yeah,
Sure, buddy. You remember when poor Eddie went down in Stranger Things playing Master of Puppets so everybody could get away? Hero! And then they went on to be like a child pedophilia like metaphor. It was disgusting. All right, no music, guys. Let's go. All right. Well, I mean, you kind of did get music anyway. All right, guys, we're doing a little surprise show of Between the Numbers real quick. All right, real quick. Probably going to be doing this for an hour or so. Don't forget, if you like the videos, to like them and to share them far and wide. Really quickly, don't forget, I'll try to remember to give you another reminder at the end of the show. If you are a contributor to the Public Polling Project, please make sure that if you do not have a reoccurring contribution that you do not want to have. In other words, sign in to your contributor dashboard. Everyone has one. It's the email, whichever email you use. My son's running around on camera here. Get out of here before your mother kills you. All right. He's a cute little one, right? Takes after his mother. It's on the donor dashboard. Everyone can sign in. If you don't remember your password, that's okay. You can reset it with your email. Several are set up. I just want to make sure that they're right. And if they are, and you did want a reoccurring one, make sure that you cancel it if it's in an old campaign and put it in the new one. The new one is called, why can't I remember this? I believe it's first quarter 2026. National polls for Q1 2026. All right. And because I can already see there's reoccurring in there. It's been like 5 contributions to it. That's it. Well, other reoccurring ones keep getting pumped out in the other things. So, all right. With that in mind, I'm sorry, God, if you've heard that a million times, I'm sorry, but there's still people who have not gotten the message yet. So I need to make sure that everybody does. I just did a segment on human events with Jack Posobiec. And in that segment, Jack and I talked about a couple of things, 2 segments, right? Or 3. Either way, it was good stuff. And in the segment, the entire point was that Trump is, in fact, bleeding a lot of his younger coalition. And if he does not get these people back, the Republicans are going to be in a bad spot. No doubt he will fall into the 30s for this reason as well, because Trump is bleeding in all of the wrong places. He's bleeding in all of the places where it makes him it always made him the strong, kind of incredible, extraordinary Republican candidate. And that's why he's won at a level that Republicans never had a chance to win. The voters that are propping him up now are voters that tend to abandon Republicans anyway when things start to get really bad. They will give you kind of false approval ratings. When you do stupid shit like bomb Iran on behalf of Israel, right? And they'll make you think that shit is popular or something, especially with really bad pollsters. But they'll abandon you in a heartbeat when things go wrong, and that can be not just military go wrong, when it can go wrong with the domestic side of this. Trump is catering to all of the people. We have generational differences in priorities and idea. The era of ideology is over. For these younger voters, it's about order. It's about order and accountability. And there's no nice way to put this. The way the administration has conducted themselves since last spring, this summer especially, they have made themselves look like frauds in the eyes of these voters. Some of us, very few of us, had the balls to try to tell you the truth. And the worst thing for a leader like Donald Trump to have is sycophancy. Clapping seals and sycophancy, because he is the kind of guy who wants to be liked by everyone. He's the kind of guy who constantly wants to affirm himself. He wants to be, he's like, I don't know, he has a Nixon problem, like a Nixonian syndrome, which took Nixon down too, by the way. And sycophancy serves as his affirmation. And it drowns out the severity of the criticisms by the smarter people. And it took too long for some to see what was going on. One Hail Mary idea, which I'm not going to get into some of the personal stuff. He didn't just come up with this shit, all right? The one Hail Mary idea, because of the problems at the Justice Department with accountability and enacting the MAGA agenda, was to take some of them away from Todd Blanche and away from Pam Bondi and give them a task, accountability, breaking up big whatever, and having them report directly to the only person who seems to who seems to get it, which was Vice President Vance. That idea was welcomed with open arms. And as of today, Todd Blanche has killed it. So that's it. The administration is screwed. I'm going to play a clip. And when I come back, we'll look at the numbers.
You've got some really cool data, some new data out, where Trump was at, where he's at now. What are we looking at? Give us the picture going into the midterm year.
So this is where it comes time for some real talk, Jack, real talk. I mean, look, the reason why we did this graphic is because, number one, we were, like you said, and thank you for mentioning that, the most accurate pollster of 24. And not just the national. We were on the nose in Florida, on the nose in Iowa, on the nose in Pennsylvania, on the nose in North Carolina. And this has been going on for the better part of 10 years since Trump came down the escalator. So we are doing an apples to apples comparison that, frankly, I don't really think any other pollster has the credibility to do. And not only that, but also we are the only ones who are doing retrospective approval. And then, of course, now we do approval going into the election in 24, or since before that. And why were we doing that? Because it was interesting to see how fast Trump rebounded with his retrospective approval rating compared to other presidents before he was elected again. But we were just talking about those age groups. Look at that, Jack. Look at the 30 to 44 overall, of course, but definitely look at the even women 30 to 44. Compare that to women who are 65 plus. This is where he's seeing the biggest bleed, Jack. The happiest voter right now, the happiest Trump voter, is a boomer male who watches Fox News. That is not who he needs to be. Yeah, I don't use the word. There's no other word. Pandering to. That's not who he needs to be kowtowing to. He has lost a huge part of his younger coalition from that generation we were talking about last segment down. He's got to get them back. And it's happened because of too much focus on foreign policy since the spring, too much of a concern for what's going on in the Middle East with Israel, and not enough on why these voters elected him in the first place. And if there's not a turnaround real soon here, Jack, it's not going to be good in the midterms. And honestly, even if Trump turns around, I don't think it'll be good for Republicans. Yeah, I mean, that's always been the thing, that even if the president turned around, it didn't necessarily mean that it was going to be enough for Republicans, who are viewed by these people very differently than they ever viewed Donald Trump. Not now. The way they still, of course, Trump still is more popular than them overall, but this coalition has been torn to shreds. I look, let's just put the numbers up, okay? Locals has seen this. There's another one I'm going to show you. This is the net difference, which is a different definition than the percentage changed, all right? I'm going to show you percentage changed in a bit. With the caveat, you guys have to understand this is February 2nd. It's worse now. Considerably worse. 3 points worse now on his approval. And then also what's interesting is among some of these age groups, the difference between strongly approve now versus then. And by the way, these numbers got better as Trump took office and started implementing his agenda, when he was rocking with Doge, when he was taking Fox on deportation ride-alongs or whatever the hell you want to call them. He was doing better than even the benchmark that we're using in this. So for people who are like, well, that was before the election. It was 2 days before the election. That was our final poll. I think, Sunday, Let me look at, I'll get you the exact final day because I think it is important. Oh, it's right there. Sunday, November 3rd. And then, you know how our methodology works, probably some trickled in on November 4th. All right. So you're talking about responses right up until the election. That wasn't the high mark for Trump. The high mark for Trump was 4 months later, three months later. And then he remained extremely positive and extremely popular until, and I'm not doing this to attack a certain group. It's a freaking reality. Until the Israel First crowd came along and derailed his domestic agenda. And that includes donors, that includes foreign leaders, that includes old, soon to kick over and die, once maybe great talk radio hosts that nobody gives a shit about anymore. With fake 7.5 million followers on X. Whoop, that's the wrong one. My bad. Did I kill the wrong thing? I sure did. You got to be kidding me. All right, let me just get it, make sure I'm going to do the right one because I want it big. All right, let's start with the first one, and then we'll show you. Okay, so this is the net approval shift. Okay, this is not the percentage change, which is gross. All right, stand by. Here it is. All right, I'm going to put it big up on the screen so you can see that more than you can see me, because we talked about it with Barnes a little bit on Monday. I had just gotten these numbers wrapped up because, again, this is, I was like, just a couple of them are still like trickling in and stuff. So we didn't give you all of them that you see up here. Locals, you've been noticing I've been adding as today as we went. And then, yes, I'm very sure. This is the Blanche thing. Someone's are you sure this happened? Yes, I'm very sure. Anyway, overall, you can see the shift wasn't that bad. He went down to like 43% overall, but it's still a bad, that a 15-point swing, guys, is a bad swing. All right, so men, he went, he's still positive, because if you look, you see that line right there. You see the plot band that runs vertical. I'm trying to show you with my marker. I don't know if you can see it. That is the difference between whether he's positive or negative with those groups. That is the zero, right? If it's to the right of zero, he's still positive. If it's to the left of zero, he's still negative. If the plot line is to the right of the screen and most of the arrows are on the left of the screen, it means it's negative. It's overall bad. If the plot line was to the left of the horizontal axis and most of the arrows were blue and pointing to the right, it would be good. You could expect the president to lose some support. It's not a matter of, that. It's not a matter of that. It's who he's lost already support with and how hard it would ever be to, consider getting it back. The reason I didn't include party in this is very simple. And for people who again, if like the People's Pundit wannabes out there, they don't know this either, because again, they're wannabes. They're not even amateurs. They're just wannabes. Partisan identification is fluid. Registration is static. When polls show you party, unless they specifically state that they have been like deduped or data appended to the voter file, and show you a difference between the affiliation or the identification percentages and what the voter files from the sample says, then you have to assume that their identification. Ours as well. Most of the time when we show it to you, unless we explicitly state, that's identification. Even though we do data pen, I just don't, frankly, it's a lot of work, and I don't always go back and get that number for everybody, although we have done it in the past, and I've done it just to show you the difference in the sample. We are always looking, however, to see how much it differs from the registration. And why is that? Because it'll give us trends and whether or not people are moving away from a party, or for some whatever reason leaving and don't want to identify with that party anymore. They're not going to go run down to their supervisor of election or their clerk, their county clerk, whatever it is. And each state is a little bit different, of course, right? They're not going to run down right away and change their registration. They don't do that. Voters don't do that. But when pollsters call them and interview them, they do change how they identify. They will do that first. Registration is a lagging indicator of party shifts, while identification is a leading indicator of partisan shifts. Right now, what we are seeing is a bunch of these groups that we're going to highlight, a bunch of people in these groups who once told us not only they were Republicans, but they were MAGA, now identify as independents. They don't even want to identify with Donald Trump anymore. That's very bad. And I guess everyone just got popular to ask this question. Over the weekend, we'll release the numbers. I can actually give them to you right now. I tweeted them when I normally don't do this. Joe Biden's beating Donald Trump on who people think was a better president by about 5 points right now. That's how bad this is. 48.2 said that Joe Biden was a better president. 43.2 said that 43.4, say that Donald Trump was a better president. And 8.4% are unsure. Guys, Trump was beating Biden by like 10 and 12 points when we would ask this in 2024. This is what we see overall. It's about a 15-point shift away from Donald Trump since the 24 election. Very bad. Now, you're going to see other polls out there, and this is why I wanted to do this chart for two reasons. One is that other polls are exacerbating what the real shift is. They're exaggerating and is a better. I keep using those interchangeably. Exaggerating the shift. No, he lost 50 points among 18 to 29-year-olds. No, he didn't. He lost 13 points. He's net shift of 13.2%. Horrible, not good still, but our polling is more stable and less subjected to response bias than other polls that did not do as well as us, not just by the national popular vote, but in the battleground states. So I'm very confident in telling you that this is what you're looking at is the most accurate assessment of where Donald Trump has come from where he was in 2024. Not only because we were the most accurate, but because we're one of the few who can actually show you the apples to apples comparison. If someone is comparing approval ratings to vote share, it's bullshit. If someone's comparing approval ratings to favorability ratings, it's bullshit. If someone is comparing a poll to exit polls, it's bullshit. That is all an apple to orange cherry pick nonsense. This is the only real one you'll get. I don't know anyone else who did this and came as close to we did with our results. So it's not going to be these monumental shifts that you're seeing from other people, but it is still bad. Men, he's lost nearly 10 points. Women, he's lost nearly 20 on net. 18 to 29 is 13.2, not 40%, but yeah, it's bad. He was positive. Now he's negative. 30 to 44. So important. He was even more positive with this group, of course, than he was with 18 to 29-year-olds. And now negative 13.6 shift, net shift. 45 to 64, currently the largest single voting age group or, age bucket, whatever you want to call it, in the electorate for now, which is very, very important. Just a hair less supportive of Donald Trump than the 30 to 44 crowd, yet pretty damn supportive. Negative 18.2% net approval shift away from Donald Trump with this group. The largest group in the electorate. So everyone talks, boomers get all the attention, 65 plus, they're going to be such a big part of the midterm electorate. Who gives a shit? Republicans won them by 14 points in 22, and they still underperformed everywhere. Donald Trump won them by a hair, a few points, as our polling suggested, by the way. And he still did better than Republicans did in 22. He only did 1 point better with 65 plus in 24 than he did in 20. And yet he did so much better. How did he do that? The machines? No, he did it by winning younger people. winning over younger people, improving among younger people, including women. Look at this monstrous shift among women who are 18 to 29. He was positive with them going into 24. Negative 38.2% net. That is the biggest shift on the board, as you could see. There are some big ones out there, but this is the worst. What hurt Donald Trump with this age group? I mean, I've been talking about it forever. I don't know why anybody doesn't understand it. Yes, now the ICE stuff, they don't like the the way that he has handled ICE. Could easily have changed. Take your damn mask off. Like I told you last November, take your damn mask off. It's ridiculous. Left-wing violence. So what? I'm on camera every day. My friend was murdered in front of everyone live. Take your fucking mask off. No hope to own a home. And Donald Trump is worried about the boomers and their home appreciation. No possible way to pay off the debt they've been saddled with. A president many of them voted for, who told them he's going to end the Ukrainian war within 48 hours. It's still going, and he's been with Lindsey Graham and every other rhino in Congress and neocon warmonger in sending more money to the cokehead. Bowing to Bibi every step of the way. Every step. They're worried about the price of goods and how they're going to pay their rent. And Donald Trump spent months prioritizing what was good for his buddy Bibi, not what was good for them. It's way past time for the hard truth. Way past time. There's nothing inherently wrong with these women. Really? Then why were you positive with them a year ago? Men, the 80s babies. Of the 80s babies. Me, 1981. The most among, well, no, it is of this group, the most supportive group of Donald Trump. The Gen X to millennial male, 30 to 44 years old, went from being more than plus 20 to single digits, negative 15.3% net swing. Why? Why? Because they're delusional and they just can't see how well Donald Trump's doing? Bullshit. Because he turned from them in the summer and spring of 2025 and he mocked them. His supporters mocked them. They downplayed their concerns. Not for nothing. They acted like Democrats did. That's what happened. If you don't realize how well we're doing, you're just too stupid. Shall I keep going? Of course I have to, you know what? I know I campaigned on ending H-1Bs, but as it turns out, there's no talent here in America. You're all a bunch of talentless sons of bitches, so I have to import a bunch of foreigners who I campaigned for 10 years against. But it's your fault. No, it's not. It's their fault. They wanted, even these women, look at that, the women 30 to 44, a group no Republican could ever imagine having a positive approval rating with, ever. Nearly 19-point net swing, now negative about 18, 16, 17, I think it is. Yeah, it's 17. Even white voters. Trump won, depending on what voter validated study that you, and I'm not putting myself up there because look, you can barely see if I do that, right? So I'm putting myself like that. White voters, Trump's first base support voter, going back to 2016, obviously. Yes, he did better with non-white voters than other Republicans, but let's face it. In the 2016 election, he still largely won off of whites. By 2024, that was no longer the case, and we'll get to some of those groups soon. but he still romped it with white voters. Depending on what voter validated post-election study that you subscribe to or you believe more, Donald Trump won white voters anywhere from as low of 12 points to a high of 16. In our polling, let me give you the positive net for whites just to make sure we are. We had him positive on November 2024. We had him positive 14.8% with whites. He is now down to basically 1.7. I think we still may have put the 2.2 from February 2nd on here, though, right? It should be 2.2, 2.2. Nope. February 2nd is 1.7. He's plus 1.7 in net approval with white voters. That's a catastrophe. We all, we harped on the Hispanic vote share. Donald Trump won more Hispanics than any Republican in the history of exit polling. Going into the 24 election, he was positive about a point with Hispanics, 0.6%. He is now negative over 20 points. It's a net negative 23 flat. Yeah, flat. Negative 23. So now, it's a net swing of negative 23.6. Bad, guys. Bad. Going into the election, barely. Could you imagine an approval spread that's only negative 19 for a Republican candidate for president going into an election with black voters? And now it looks like what it normally looks like with black voters, negative 40.4. Another plus over 20 negative net swing. We could just keep going on and on, but let's do education since everybody harps on education. Because age and education, I think, are the ones we really have to focus on the most here. Yes, when it comes to demographic trends, you should care about Hispanics. Are you leaving? You getting ready to go? All right, let me just say this real quick, and then I'm literally coming to say goodbye. You should care about race with trends as well, because when we're talking about overall shares of the electorate, white voters will continue to shrink. Hispanic women are literally holding up the fertility rate in this country. They will be a much larger share of the electorate. Hold on, let me say goodbye to my beautiful girls. Goodbye, sweetheart. Drive soon. Call me when you get there.
I definitely will.
Bye, Pumpkin.
I'll put it on the
Have
trap.
fun, okay? How's your thing? Good?
Yeah.
You good? Feel good? All right. Drive safe, ladies. Love you. And make sure that, yeah. So I got to see the girls for all of maybe 48 hours this week. A combined 48 hours. All right. But yeah, that's why I'm harping on age. But race, same thing. It's probably true this going into this midterm that Hispanics are not going to vote as much as we saw them want to vote, express to vote, and did in 24 because they're depressed, especially the ones who voted for Donald Trump. So they're actually falling again slightly below black voters as an overall share of the likely voter model because they don't want to vote anymore. Now, that's a disaster for Republicans because for these idiots rewrote Texas based on Trump's performance with Hispanics. They're so stupid. These people they're dumb. Republicans are dumb. They're not even good at this. But you'll want them. If you're a Republican and you know it's going to be a while, even with winning more shares of the younger black vote, it's going to be a while before that dam breaks, especially with Trump fucking up the way he is. It's going to be a while before that dam breaks. It's easier to peel more from younger Hispanic demographics. If they go back to being unwilling to flex their political muscles, then you're going to have to win increased shares of the white vote to counter that out. It's not going to happen because whites are the only ones getting more educated. So now that trend is starting to arrest a little bit, but it's not going to happen. It's not there aren't enough white people at the margins that Republicans are winning them by. There aren't enough whites. So it's just not going to happen. It's not, the math doesn't math, guys. You needed them. You needed them. And it's like, I don't even know how stupid you could have been. Look at by region. Where is the sharpest decline for Donald Trump? The sharpest decline is in his second strongest region going into the 24 election, which was the Midwest. The region of the country that makes Donald Trump Trump, that makes him president. Negative 22.6%, and now he's over 10 points negative in the region. The South is his second decline, which is supposed to be the Republican bread and butter region. Negative 19.9%. And guess what? In our polling, he was, as of this, he was a little bit over -5 in the South. He's now -9. Non-college men, obviously key to any Republicans win. They were immensely significant with Donald Trump's. He was well over 20% net positive. He is now just barely over 10%. Look at that swing. I mean, these are not meaningless swings. By the way, non-college men and non-college women are 3 in 10 of an electorate in a presidential election. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's just high school or less. Excuse me, they're more than that. And in the Electoral College, they could be 60 to 65% of the electorate because some college and associate, they are included in non-college. That's a standard way of doing it. College means college graduate, a bachelor's, a 4-year degree, bachelor's degree, or above. Now, college men, he slipped the net shift was 8.5%. College women is a really bad shift. But ironically, when we look at them together and combined because of their share of the electorate, college men and women combined could be anywhere between like 22 to 25%, 4-year degree. And then another like 12 to 15 or 16, roughly that's a high end with the post grad. So moving 8.5% is not as among college men is not as much. You're not losing as many votes as if you moved 8.5% among non-college men because it's more of the electorate. Here, we actually have a smaller shift with college men than we do with non-college men, which is a disaster. A disaster. It's a larger share of the electorate. And it's actually a bigger shift. There's no good way to read this. This is at the point where this is so bad. Honestly, it's so bad. I don't know how he digs out of this hole. Not anymore. Not anymore. I mean, there are things we just keep hearing about, whether people want to hear it or not. The Epstein stuff was shady as shit. You look like a fraud, and you look like you were either covering for yourself or covering for your friends. Most people suspect he was covering for friends, but it doesn't matter. There's nothing, it doesn't matter how favorable the Epstein files are to Republicans. The way they fucked it up, handling it, will cancel out any hope that they will ever to get political capital off of it. Especially since it makes Israel look terrible. And most people now are kind of just saying, like most non-sycophant, non-hacks, these normies, especially the 80s babies, Jack and I were talking about, they're just like, man, this is real obvious to me here. Real obvious to me what's going on here. I mean, use your imagination. Do I have to say it out loud? Do I have to spell it out for you? He looks like he's totally captured by Jewish donors and the Jewish state. He does. Can't let out the Epstein files because we can't make our friends look bad. Everyone and their mother knows that bombing Iran was stupid and unpopular, but we got to do it because our donors and our Jewish friends told us to do it. It looks like shit. This guy was supposed to be the guy who isn't influenced by big donors, who isn't influenced by the military industrial complex, who isn't influenced by the same powers that have caught us up in dumb Middle Eastern conflicts for decades, who blew our peace dividend on their project. Not because it was in our interest, but because they spend so much money buying off our politicians. Everybody believed that. They just couldn't believe Donald Trump was going to end up one of them. I really don't know where there is to go here. He can't even, he's a eunuch, guys. He's a freaking political eunuch. He can't even attack Big Ag or, I don't know. Because he can't even get his own vice president to lead a fraud and accountability task force, having the AAGs directly report to them because he's killed all of his allies. Because he elevated Blanche instead of someone like Martin. Because pay-for-play Pam Blondie has sold the Justice Department's ability to be effective against lobbyists. He screwed himself. All of his real allies are taken out or weakened bad, and the scumbags are running the show. So I wish I had better news for you, but that's the reality. That's the truth. And I don't know what else to say. Then again, I've only heard from a bunch of people that that's what happened. Blanche killed that task force. They blew the narrative that they had in Minnesota over welfare fraud, mass welfare fraud. They had this huge political gift just given to them going into the midterms. And they somehow managed to get up and they turned it into an ICE scandal. And now they've lost this task force. It's just ridiculous. It's just it's political malpractice that I've just never seen before. I have never seen this level, except for when, Nixon, I don't even blame for that. When Nixon was reelected, he had it all. This was the most powerful reelected president in a long time, a very long time. But I don't blame him for it because his own party backstabbed him. And yes, he wanted people to like him. He did. But Nixon didn't really get into bed with the people who wanted him dead and wanted him gone. He just lost. He just got outflanked. He thought he could do things and get away with it because of his power, because of the power he had. Honestly, he's a grossly underrated president, and Watergate is a grossly overrated scandal. It's a joke. Compared to what politicians do now, they make Nixon look like a fucking choir boy. So, I don't know what else, I don't know what other situation to equate it to here, but this is the president's fault. This is the president's fault. There's nobody, he is at the top. The buck stops. Speaking of Nixon, the buck stops with you. You've been warned for months and months and months and months. You chose to prioritize the things you chose to. The same bad people that have wanted to take your movement out, who persecuted and prosecuted your own supporters, you yourself. I don't know what, I don't know what to say. You can gaslight yourself for a long time, but you can't gaslight the American public. And there were people who just wanted to not listen. And now we're at a point where I just don't really see, you called 6 months ago. What do we do? What do we do? What did we do? Then I had an answer for you. You didn't even listen then, but now I don't even have an answer for you because I don't think you can do anymore what it would require to turn and right this ship. I think he is by what's today? It's Thursday. I think by Saturday, he'll be at 38, 39%. I do. And that is once the president hits the 30s, we do not live in Reagan's 1982 world anymore, guys. It's not the same country where Reagan could go down. And look, I can actually even get that for you. We should be able to get this real quick. I have the, I think I still have it. The overall, oh no, I thought it was bigger than that. Let me see if I can get the link to it. The approval center, where is it? Where is it? God, these LEDs are bright, but they're good. That's what they got to be. Let's see. Okay. That's not it. I still can give you an image though. I could still find you an image that'll work. All right. So here's Reagan. And you'll see in his first term, he was doing very bad. Things turned around for him. The economy turned around for him. We just don't live in that America anymore. There's a trepidation out there among these younger voters, and there's this like real lack of trust. And once you break that trust, it's very difficult. There's nothing to suggest that it's possible to earn their trust back. That's been what we have seen. We have not seen a long history in the empirical record of these voters saying, all right, you lied, you fucked me. Now I'm going to forgive you 6 months later because you did something right. That's not what we see with these voters. And it makes sense because this was a generation. Jack and I spent a little bit of time talking about it on Human Events, but this was a generation who dealt with very different environment growing up, both culturally and politically, than the boomers did, for instance. And they were lied by the most like core pillars of society that were all once trusted and above reproach. And, their honesty was supposed to be not in doubt. And they were lied to these people by every single one of these institutions about every big thing you could possibly imagine. So once you break their trust, it's not going to come back. It's just not. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible because nothing's impossible, but go ahead and you tell me where, like Obama broke the trust of these voters. It never came back to them. It never came. Democrats, in between when Democrats were getting their asses kicked in the Trump era, they never won by winning these voters. They won by these voters just not showing. In fact, the boomers were the ones who were swinging back and forth, betraying Republicans all the time. The other people just stayed out of the race. It's pretty funny, actually. Anyway, here's Reagan. You can see where Reagan really plummeted. Look at that. By the way, even as far as looks like 20 something in 80s. Oh, right. That's when neocon Israel firsters almost killed Ronald Reagan's presidency too. And then he recovered slightly before the end of his tenure. But we're not in this America anymore. How can I better explain this? Okay. On Netflix, there's this thing running called Miracle. I don't know if you guys saw this documentary. It's a reference to Miracle on the Ice. When the 1980s U.S. Olympic team defeated what at the time was thought to be like the unbeatable machines that were the Russian Olympic team. And it's like back then nationalism wasn't a dirty word. So that's a big part of it. But it got Laura and I to talking because at the end they'll say, we need another 1980. We could use another 1980 Miracle on the Ice right now. And I chuckled. And everyone's looking at me like, what are you laughing at? I'm like, as if we had one, political forces in the media and the Democratic Party would ever let us come together like that. Like, no way, no chance. They just thrive on discord and not allowing times of unity. Like we saw, the last of which we saw like that was probably 9/11. We don't live in that country anymore. God forbid if another 9/11 event happened, 9/11 like event happened today, Trump's approval rating would not go to 80%. It wouldn't. In fact, most Democrats would be blaming him, outwardly blaming him. Somehow it was his fault. If we had another Miracle on the Ice, it wouldn't matter because the media and Democrats would be telling everybody how disgusting this display of nationalism is. We don't live in that country anymore. Once people dig in with these and views harden the way that we're showing you they have hardened now, it is incredibly difficult, if not impossible, to ever reverse it. Well, how did Trump do it before, Rich? He was terrible before. In fact, we never had Donald Trump in the 30s in his first term. So that's number one. And I think I know why. I think I can tell you it's the betrayal aspect of it. It's what Rush Limbaugh warned him about in one of his final words to him. The media can attack you. Your own party can attack you. The other party can attack you. But they cannot break this bond you have with these voters. Only you can do that, and you do it through betrayal. Don't betray them. He did. It's just that some people don't want to admit it. He did. I don't want your support anymore. Like a little baby because he messed up the handling of the Epstein files. Am I supposed to be worried or something? That's the truth. Mr. President, you ran on not starting new stupid wars in the Middle East, and definitely not because of money from a foreign country that bombards our political system. Shut up, make Iran great again. They've been very patient with him. Very. Astonishingly patient with him. He did this. He did. It's not the media. It's not the Democratic Party. This administration gatekept excessively and gave access to all the wrong people. It's just true. It is just true. And when people expressed and when voters had a problem with it, he would take tantrums and go to the media. I don't understand why don't they love what I'm doing. You spent the entire summer talking about Iran. The entire summer. The entire summer. To the point where I had to go publicly on X at everyone and tell the vice president to come home and stop screaming at a wall that Americans don't care about. Donors care about your humiliation ritual. 25, 30% of 2.5% of the country don't give a shit. They cared about eggs, groceries, whether you were going to keep your campaign promise, gas, housing, healthcare. And you just let it go. You got overconfident and you just let it go. And you let all the wrong people run all the right people out of town. And now you don't have allies who can help you right the ship. Your own vice president can't even start a task force that he wants to start because your DOJ isn't compliant enough, is not in your control enough. I'm so sick of hearing the bullshit. They're not doing shit over there, okay? Don't tell me about how you got crime down. The FBI ate Dan Bongino and Kash Patel for breakfast. And now they're protecting all of the scumbags who persecuted your supporters for the last 10 years. Let's go to the questions. Chungster, take a look at the email about helping out. I've done intern work for Barnes and the populist candidate in Iowa. Okay. Yeah. And Ryan, let me put this up now. I promise, Ryan, I'll keep it down. I'll keep my... I will not do that. I will not do that at your event. Don't worry. Because, listen, Minnesota, nice. But your state is actually a really good example of what's at stake. Because if the dumb sultans had their way, and always do, they always do, then, you ignore Minnesota and still sit in Iowa and North Carolina when you're winning them by 5 to 15 points because your pollster sucks. And if my stuff is in public, he can't copy me. Immediately after I heard from them what his excuse was for how he had Randy Fine down in the special election, I just laughed my ass off because I deliberately held that poll back, and did not show it to the public so he could copy me. And he came up with not only bullshit numbers, but didn't even know the correct terminology, the correct nomenclature to be able to explain to them why he was wrong about it. And because they don't know, they bought it. It's just humiliating. It's just totally. But if you had competent people around you, you could win a state like Minnesota. And that's the stuff that's at stake. If Trump takes this party back, and the guy's over there crying about how Hillary Clinton, poor Hillary and Bill. Oh my God. This is what he's learned? Poor Bill and Hillary? The one is a sexual deviant, and the other one allowed the sexual deviancy of her husband so she could make millions of dollars and be powerful. There's the worst kind of people in the world. Hosting tea and crumpet parties with Bill Gates at the White House while Americans can't even buy a fucking home. Anyway, Barnes and I are going to be there. There may even be, of course, there are going to be other people there, but I'm talking about speakers. So get your ticket, MinnesotaLincolnReaganDinner.com. It's on March 21st. March 21st. And by the way, if it's on March 21st, then I can go to the ball with my son. They're having a ball. And Laura was like, I'm sorry, son, he'll be gone. He's got a speaking, unless I'm thinking of another event. God, I hope not. I don't want to travel that much in March. I'm going to go to that dinner. I'm going to give a barn burner. And then I'm going to go to, I don't know what, it's like a gala, you know, and they're putting it on. My son's so excited about it. And I got to buy him like apparently he wants like my son is crazy. I mean, in a good way. He's got style and he'll rock some crazy colors. And I got to get him something because I told him I would. I do it. We can get him something, whatever he wants. And I think the kid's going to rock an orange tuxedo, like Dumb and Dumber style, only he'll make it look good. Deep red is another one he wants, like almost like a maroon red. It's crazy. Have you told the admin that if justice for the American people continues to be denied by Pam and the DOJ, the more likely it is that the American people will take that justice that it is being denied, not advocating for I get what you're saying, but that it is coming. Yeah, absolutely. I literally told them that if they fuck this up, Robert, that I'm terrified for the future. The name of the word is accountability. Order is at the heart of this. Anyone who's not a 65 plus boomer who watches Fox News is not concerned about ideology or, you know, having these like principled debates over bullshit. Nobody cares about that anymore. This is about them being betrayed by institutions and corporations and people and just people that you should, as a society, be able to put your faith in. Just about every single one of these has betrayed these voters. And he was not elected to manage them or try to reform them or tinker with this and tinker with that. He said he was going to dismantle. Instead, he's getting played. He's getting rolled. I mean, even the comments, your comments say it all. We have been, and again, I think no other pollster does this. These people are full of shit. They don't take the time to do it. They don't spend the money. We explicitly ask people to tell us about, you know, the overall interview. Give us your thoughts. And yeah, and you know, we ask different things each interview, but we'll ask that too right after the section that is about the administration and their focus on foreign versus domestic stuff, and you know how people feel about what they're doing with this and that, you know. And we'll always ask them. We'll say, okay, because we're about to go into the demographic section of the questionnaire at that point, political identification. Actually, it's right before political identification, and we'll say, look, you know. You can or you don't have to, but we would really like you to take 2 minutes. Give us your thoughts, not, you know, answers to the questions we presented you. What is on your mind? Why did you answer the way you answered? The comments on locals right now, they're mirror images of what we see all the time in these polls. I can't believe it's just so sad to watch this happen. It is. It's sad. It literally saddens me because, or legit, whatever. It legit saddens me because this guy put together a coalition that, Republicans are always losers. They're professional losers. So I didn't really expect them to do the right thing here. I never did. I'll be honest with you. I never did. You try to be optimistic for people when you're on like their shows and stuff. And it's like, oh, yeah. I mean, they could theoretically take advantage of this and win for 30 years. But I expected Republicans to squander this opportunity. I did. What I did not expect was what we're getting out of Donald Trump. I did not expect it. It's something that, thank God, Rush did not see in his lifetime, which was that betrayal. The more you talk, the more you convince me that JD doesn't give a boop about why. I'm not beeping you. I say it all the time. Doesn't give a fuck about the American people either. He does, but look, think about it. I mean, he's the vice president. He doesn't have that much power. That's just the truth. He doesn't have that much power. This is Trump's fault. He's the only one who has the power to get his DOJ together. He chose, I'm sorry, but it's true. He chose to play nice with the administrative state again. You can't do that. They're not there to work with you. They are there to survive and destroy you. Republicans don't understand. And Trump, once upon a time, he did. I don't know if something happened to him from being prosecuted, folks. I don't know. I do know something happened to him with his near death, his brush with death. I'm in a group chat right now, and there's like one guy who's like, these are plugged in dudes. And there's like one guy who's saying, I didn't get that confirmation, Rich. I'm not sure that's happened. And like everybody just responded now, like, no, Rich is right. I just went and spoke to my people too. Blanche and Bondi killing everything. Well, then this is over. Then just roll over. Or better yet, get the hell out of the way. Am I going to be the first one to say it out loud? Because at this point, he is going to kill the most articulate, talented politician that Republicans have on the bench. He's about to kill that person politically. If you don't want to be president anymore, bruh, then pass off. I don't know what to tell you. Like, you're not doing anything. You're letting them roll over you. And for those of you who think I'm being hyperbolic here, maybe that's because you never had skin in the game. You've never been investigated by the FBI. You've never had your name on a government list. You've never had them come after you in this way or that way. Wait until his successor is defeated. Wait till you see what they do with him. It's going to be open season. He just took it as a joke. Like, I feel like this has been taken as a complete joke. You think Benjamin Netanyahu is going to be able to protect you? They're coming for everyone. And you're first. Actually, your circle's first. He squandered, and just to get back to that though, Ryan, honestly, there's not much else he can do. It's the nature of the office of vice president. He asked people what can be done here. What do you think? What are your thoughts? He thought on it long and hard. He put together an amazing plan. He got their approval for it. And the president is letting the DOJ run all over him. Because your chief of staff is best friends with the attorney general. Everyone who's ever been MAGA, who you got to work at Main Justice or the FBI, has been squashed by. And Brooke was right. That tweet was 100% right. Now we saw the same thing. We found out it's the same thing that happened to Ed Martin. They leak. They accuse Ed, or not, they leak. They accuse the MAGA person of being the leaker, even though it makes no sense for them to have done those leaks. It's unbelievable. It's and that is how they've gotten rid of everybody. He squandered the best potential industrial build out in a century or more, and serving the AI data centers and tech companies that hate his guts. Yep. No jobs, blue or white collars, just layoffs. Have you seen the ADP report? Have you seen it? Okay, let's not fuck around anymore. Okay. It's 4:05. I got time. We're doing this. We'll also take a look at the Challenger, shall we? And actually, I don't even have to go there. I could just go to Econoday. Let's go to our friends at Econoday. Oh, we got JOLTS. We got the jobless. Let's do it. Yeah, it's everybody else, right? Sycophants. It's everybody else. Everybody else is wrong. 70% of the country is going to be wrong. You sound like Obama, sycophants. That's what Obama did too. That's what Biden did too. That's what those sycophants said too. And Hillary ended up beaten by Trump. Oh, it's up. Challenger job cut report. Let's start there. This is the highest layoff numbers we got today since 2009. Jobless claims, a tight labor market is around 200,000 or below. All right. 231. It's not that it's terrible, but it ain't good. JOLTS. Ooh, way off the consensus, which was supposed to be 7.245 million. We came in almost a million shy of that. I believe this is also the lowest number since the summer of 2009. This is just terrible. Guys, this is shit. Here's the ADP report from yesterday. Oh my God! 22,000 jobs? Holy shit. This is This is a fucking national embarrassment. This is a national embarrassment. But Larry, keep screaming on Fox Business about how you're letting the American public down if we don't attack the Iranian people. They can't even afford a home, you idiot. It's enormously unpopular. 52% of Republicans don't want to do it. What are you talking about? You live in an alternate reality. This is why you losers couldn't win before America First came around. A brand, by the way, that you're running into the ground. I don't even know what real America First is going to call themselves after Trump at this point. This brand is going to be shit on like the Tea Party brand by the time he's done. And by the way, every indicator of an overperformance is ringing right now. Every indicator. Whether it's what we had talked about in the past, certainty to vote, likely to vote. I put this together for you too. I hope you got time. I'm going on a little bit of a rant here, but I hope you got time. Let me go to, I got to go to the January 31st. I know it's going to be a little bit older, but it's because it's the most complete data I had for it. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing anyway. You're going to see the same thing. If I showed you Sunday's numbers, it would be the same damn thing. Where is it? Is it registered? Oh, no, I do have new ones for you. What is this? It's newer. It's January 31st. So it's not the 21st. It's not the 31st. I mean, it's not the 24th one that was published. It's the 31st. I wish it was February 2nd, but let me show you guys something. And by the way, not This is no likely voter model. All right. So don't go get on all excited that Republicans are only down 4. It's not the likely voter model. It's just registered. All right. All right. So here it is. Well, let me just say this before. One of the indications also that Democrats were going to overperform in 22 was comparing the approval rating for the president to the generic ballot. There's something that's also happening. This is a long time signal for overperformance on behalf of a party. Somewhat approve, somewhat disapprove. What's happening there? Right now, Democrats are stomping on the other predictive indicators of overperformances, the voter screens, the enthusiasm levels, et cetera, et cetera. The question is whether or not Republicans are doing what Trump did, by the way. So in 24, if you dial back to 22, you'll see that Democrats are actually winning the voter who says they somewhat disapprove of the job Joe Biden is doing. That's weird, right? And they were, of course, winning the somewhat approve of the job that Joe Biden was doing. People didn't see it coming. In 24, we talked about this quite a bit. Trump was winning the somewhat disapprove of the job Joe Biden was doing. Now, Republicans are losing the somewhat disapprove. If Republicans want to overperform, they've got to win this group. They're losing it right now by about 12, not about, on the money, 12 points. Yes, if we look back to the 22, and I wish I could show you this as I'm going, 22 exit polls. I'll give you the margin right now so you can see the generic House vote. Let me just type in approval so I don't have to go through all of it. I'll have to put in Biden view of Joe Biden opinion as Biden as president. That's it. Democrats won, somewhat disapprove, 49 to 45. They're winning it now by 8 points more. Okay. This is so bad. This is just so bad. So the intensity, why does that matter? It shows the intensity is on the side of Democrats. When you look at somewhat approve, the Democrat is still winning 16% of that. If you look at, for that matter, strongly approve, they're winning as a percentage more than they're losing on the strongly disapprove. Okay. So on strongly disapprove, Republicans are obviously going to do very badly, but on swing voters are going to tell you whether or not they're leaning to the left or leaning to the right by this. 3.8% of the voters who strongly disapprove of the job Donald Trump is doing are voting for the Republican candidate, but 6.9, or let's just round, 7% of those who strongly approve of the job that Donald Trump is doing are still voting for the Democratic candidate. It's a wipeout in the making, guys. All right. It's a wipeout in the making. The thing is, with Republicans, that never was the case even in 22. They never enjoyed these like big predictive indicators like that, and such as, you know, they did win the voter screen. Enthusiasm, Democrats would roar back on enthusiasm every once in a while. So it wasn't as dominant as we are seeing now, where, you know, I don't have it in here. I'd have to go and put it in, which I could, but that's like every single indicator of whether or not we could expect an overperformance. Every single one is in favor of Democrats right now. Every single one. You know, it's just like been talking to this for months and months and months and months. Let me let you guys in on a little secret. What I was saying was never debatable. I was always right, and people didn't listen. And now you're in the shittiest position I have ever seen Republicans in going into something like this. They weren't even in this bad position in 2018. Barnes is right. They weren't. They weren't. It's just a fact. So the map is more favorable to them now too. I mean, it's, you know. Rich, did you see Mike Pence's message to the 28 Republican nominee? You'll want to listen to it. Let's do it. Can I do it on Twitter right now? Let's do it. Mike Pence. I mean, Mike's been like on the target. I think somebody did tell me the EU censor plan, dear Republican presidential nominee. Oh, it's 16 minutes long. I am here from the future to tell you why you just got crushed. So go back in time and fix it while you can and win. Holy shit. This is I love that Mike used that terminology. Thank you for that super chat, Rocket Boy. And thank you for pointing that out. I love that Mike did that because this is why it's so frustrating. And I have people on X whining at why I'm so mean to them. Like, grow the fuck up. This is a contact sport. You don't have the balls for it. Get the fuck out. You have to live in the future and watch people make these disastrous mistakes. And then the arrogance of the losers who attack you for your warning. And then you have to, there's nothing you can do about it. You have to watch as they just get to the disaster. It's like them just like steaming forward toward the brick wall. And there's not anything you can do to convince them to hit their brakes. And then you watch them hit the brick wall. You watch all of the losers who criticized you try to spin it in a way where it somehow isn't their fault or they weren't contributing to this disaster that was like very foreseeable by everybody except for them. David just messaged me before and he said, he's like, you see the clapping seals? They're actually blaming us for warning that this was going to happen. Listen, when I poll, nobody fucking answers and says, you know what? The People's Pundit's been so negative, so I'm going to vote for the Democrat. Idiot. They talk about affordability, Trump backstabbing them on the Epstein files, backstabbing them on promises for no new wars, making fun of them every time they say, you H-1Bs, bro, you've been campaigning against H-1Bs for 10 years. I'm sorry, you don't have the talent. What? But it's their fault. Get the fuck out of here. I'd love to listen to it. I will go back and listen to it. I think Mike's going to be dead on with this. And is this about, let me just, guys, give me a second here and let me just listen to what I want to know what he's saying is going to be the end of them. Let me just listen to that, okay? Let's put this up. Bear with me, guys. Bear with me. Let's hear some of this.
I want to make a message directly to J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, anyone who might want to run for president of the United States in the Republican.
Let me just stop Mike there. Even if Marco Rubio does somehow beat J.D. Vance, and that would be because of what their people in the White House are trying to do now, which is backstab J.D. and try to get Marco Rubio Trump support. Even if that was to happen, Marco Rubio has no chance of winning a presidential election. Sorry.
Republican Party in 2028. This administration has done a fantastic job on so many issues, and there has been good talk about the most critical issue of our time, free speech. In fact, there's been excellent action, especially here in the United States, to eradicate sources of funding domestically for the censorship industrial complex.
I understand what he's saying, and I agree with that. And I would say they've done great things on so many issues. That's true. The problem is they're the wrong issues. They're the issues nobody gives a shit about. That's just true. I will say now, though, they're anti-free speech now. And I know that Mike agrees. Pam Bondi is so happy with herself that she got a student permanently removed and their life will be ruined because they had a pro-Palestine position and a kid was wearing an IDF shirt. And by the way, what happened, the account of what happened was very much in dispute. The one student who was wearing the IDF shirt said he was assaulted. Everybody, with multiple witnesses who said this is bullshit. He was tapped on the shoulder. It was bullshit. But look, you got the administration aligning themselves with people like Randy Fine and others who want to put you in prison if you criticize the Israeli state. Ron DeSantis actually signed a bill in Israel. I mean, they want a federal version of that. It's humiliating. This is not the right is going to get no credit for first speech stuff. They're not, because they've had Israel First running around calling on people to be censored and deplatformed. It's the exact opposite of it. So sadly, because the administration decided to get in the mud with these pigs, he's going to get muddied up. Sorry.
You are being encircled. You're being surrounded. You're being outplayed. You're being outmatched, and you do not appreciate the magnitude of the threat you need to respond to and everything that needs to be done to take it on. Let me
we need this guy on the show.
Present to you what I see with crystal clarity, your future, if you don't do this. This is not from me. This is from Europe and other countries. What will happen slowly over the next 3 years is you will continue to be encircled, and it will be June or July of 2028. And this may hit before then. This may hit during the 2026 midterm elections. But what I promise you is that sometime between the summer and fall of 2028, when you, running as the inheritor of the mantle of Trump's MAGA movement, there will be a sudden, massive, global, it will seem coordinated, I don't know, they must be coordinating it, massive imposition of fines totaling in the tens of billions of dollars, collectively leveled at Google, Facebook, Instagram, X, WhatsApp, Telegram, every single social media channel that American voters can use to speak with one another. All in tandem. There will be 14 different discrete countries, as well as...
I know what he's talking about. I'm sorry, I'm not going to pause you like that. There we go. I'll pause you like that. I can't do the whole thing, but I do know what he's talking about. Yeah, I'm not even getting into that. I wasn't even getting into that. But let's for a second. I know what he's talking about. He's allowing this to happen right now. All right. So I know, Rocket Boy, you watched it, so you know what he's talking about. Who's to blame for that, Rocket Boy? Who's to blame for it? Who has he gotten in the mud with? He's to blame for it. He's going to let it happen. He's also, by the way, when all of this happens, you're going to be left. Who's going to be fighting for you? A worse Republican conference, a more rhino Republican conference than the one that you gave Donald Trump to govern with. He is supporting every scumbag piece of shit who's going to help erase his legacy and throw you to the wolves in a second. This is going to be the most rhino Congress we've actually had in years, unless you do something about it as the voters. But everyone, in order for you to, you basically have to vote against everyone Donald Trump has endorsed. His endorsement list is the worst list I've ever seen yet. And he made some really shitty endorsements when he was president the first time around. I mean, that's who's going to be left to deal with this. And when this happens, who are you going to call to fight for? Randy Fine? He's going to be wailing at a wall, dude. He's not going to give two shits as long as TikTok isn't showing anti-Semitic videos anymore. And according to that definition, by the way, what they mean is pictures of the IDF murdering people in Gaza. Because that's what they don't want you to see. That's why Larry Ellison is allowed to get control of TikTok. We just can't have you looking at pictures and videos of the IDF killing people, bro. Okay? They don't care whether or not they're going to come after them over their ability to push and amplify an alternative message that is a message of non-globalism. You know, I mean, because that's where... And people should, I'll get the link. I'll put the Twitter link in the thing for you guys to see, because is it still up? No, it's not good. I just don't want to show anybody stuff. I'll put the link. This is good. I'm going to watch the rest of it because Mike is better at this stuff than I am. We all have our own lanes. You know what I mean? Here, guys, let me put that in there. I'm just going to set it as all locals, although I don't want to lose your tip. Things I got to go through. Oh my God, I got a lot of them. I better get going. Better get cooking. I'm going to be on this till 5 o'clock. 22,000 jobs. 22,000 jobs. Woo! The golden age. Woo! All the voters are stupid. It's the voter. Shut up, Doomer. Shut up, Black Pillar. Otherwise, Dan Bongino is going to come for you. Ooh. Did they kill your poodle, Dan? What did they tell you in that meeting? Should we get that video and put it up? Why did you come out looking like you had a shit in your pants and someone slit your poodle's throat right in front of you. And Cash, God knows, I don't know, somebody, it looked like he was still coming out with the sodium pentothal in his system or something. The fuck was that? What'd they do to you guys back there? Me and Cernovich are still speculating, okay? Because it was clear to us. Something went wrong behind that door. Jesus. Doomers. It's all the Doomers' fault. Yeah, they want to say that now because they were stupid morons who were wrong. And they're going to try to preemptively blame everyone but those who are really to blame. It's the same reason that Israel First wants to blame Tucker Carlson now for like losing the midterms. Nobody cites Tucker Carlson. Dummies. Nobody cites blackpilling podcasters or pollsters who are trying to sound the alarm. Dummies. They cite you. Yes. Mark and I are fabricating all of these responses that we put up on social media. Bro. When Rich and Barnes say the J word, the Mossad agents come out. Got bots on every channel ready. I know. It's disgusting. And it's like, Hightower, you see these people trying to say that like the Epstein files prove that he was actually a Russian agent. Oh my God. Clearly he was a free agent. I mean, for MI6, for the Kremlin, for everybody, he played the game. But he got his start in the game with Mossad. And it's, okay. Oh, God. Here we go. Got to bust out the Epstein files now. Here is this one. Okay. It's just so obvious. Here is the actual document. Jeffrey Epstein was represented by Dirt and Dershowitz. This does not look good for you either, broski. Confidential source, which is CHS, was asked by the handling agent about the information he or she may be aware of related to improper domestic or foreign influence over the electoral process in the U.S. and blah, 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 blah. Harvard law professor Alan Dershowitz, CHS learned that Dershowitz influenced many students from wealthy families. For example, Josh Kushner and Jared Kushner were both his students. Dershowitz, and that makes the president look bad. Dershowitz told CHS that it doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. I'm saying it makes him look bad. It will make these kids make memes and make TikTok videos and make Instagram videos, which are already up. They're everywhere. And it makes him look stupid. He will be holding a stun gun as Israeli agents, as an Israeli intelligence Mossad agent. Come on, man. Come on. And here it is. Epstein was represented by Dershowitz. The CHS remembered that Dershowitz told Alexander Acosta, the U.S. attorney of the Southern District of Florida at the time, that Epstein belonged to both the U.S. and allied intelligence services. CHS shared phone calls between Dershowitz and Epstein during which he or she took notes. And this is why, because if you look at the date, you should have been sharing this stuff as uncorroborated stuff, because it's true. Uncorroborated stuff until it is fully corroborated. However, and if I get this, Hightower, I'm going to remove your thing real quick. If you get it off the screen, what you'll see is this underneath this red line, because this is true. And anyone who knows this situation knows this is what rings true about this document. After these calls, Mossad would then call Dershowitz to debrief Epstein, who was close to the former prime minister of Israel, Ehud Barak, which we now know from other Epstein files. He's a liar. Ehud Barak was a liar. He did, in fact, Epstein and him did have a relationship. They ran guns together, apparently. And they, anyway, Ehud Barak, and trained as a spy under him. Ehud believed Netanyahu was a criminal. That is also true. Ehud Barak did not like Benjamin Netanyahu at all. All right. So things ring true to this, even though the date is older. It doesn't matter because, of course, this could be a confidential human source. He's supposed to be, he or she is supposed to be recalling things. And it's just one of many, many, many documents out there. The one that struck me the most was from Epstein himself, talking about is the closest thing he got to a father-in-law, which was Robert Maxwell. And the things that he knew about Robert Maxwell, of course, he was corroborating things that we have basically known to be true, but alleged. And he knew with such detail and he had so much specificity in what happened and why it happened to Robert Maxwell that it's obviously very true. So, to spin it now and pretend that the Epstein files are vindicating, exonerating the Israeli state and Mossad is like, no, like that is propaganda, the highest order. And of course, look who's posting that. Clearly, people you can see have taken money from the Israeli government to post lies on X. And it's not just the Israeli government. Guys, we need a FARA-like law for social media. Influencers should not be allowed to take money from foreign governments and then post bullshit or true stuff on their behalf. It should have to have something under it that says, Ehad Yaik or whatever, this one, whatever his fucking name is, takes money from the Israeli government to help the Israeli government with public relations on social media. You can even make it sound nice. Whatever. Everyone, we all know it. And it's like you guys, the people at home, the folks at home do not. It's unfair. No, that's not enough. What a great question, but not enough. The SAVE Act is just not enough. I honestly think even if Donald Trump comes out and is able to 100% prove that he won Arizona and Georgia in 2020, no one will give a fuck. He's that unpopular now. He's that unpopular. They already knew it. The American public already instinctively knew that Donald Trump was robbed in 2020. Once they realized that Joe Biden was in fact senile and that Democrats lied, the public health officials lied about COVID to get rid of Donald Trump, that, they were sold the real big lies. This is why he won the protect democracy vote in 2024. They already came to that conclusion. In return, they wanted to make a deal. We will reelect you. We will save you from prison, regardless of felonies, if you do what you told us you were going to do. The Trump that they got back is not the same Trump that they thought they were electing. Facts on facts. You don't want to hear it? Suck it. I'm over this. I'm so over being nice. I have to watch everybody pretend to be smart and then the whole fucking thing crash and burn. It's very stressful. It sucks. I appreciate you too, man. I do. I appreciate you all too. And Laura always says it and reminds me. I got so she's not here to remind me. So I'm trying to do, enough to remind myself. But thank you for all your super chats and Locals tips and Rumble's rants and everybody. This Fishback fellow in Florida feels like a legitimate populist, not like the faux populist in the White House. Oh God. Yeah, and they'll throw probably $40 million of Israeli money at him. Wait until you see what AIPAC is gearing up to spend this midterm. A disgusting amount of money that you have never seen any group, let alone AIPAC themselves, spend on a midterm election. Just from the one main PAC alone, $95 million on Congress. Holy shit. And you're telling me they don't get anything for that? Get out of here. You fall off the truck yesterday, man? Come on, dude. Fall off the turnip truck? I don't know much. I would like to interview Fishback. I know people who do know him and they like him a lot. I'd like to see it. Maybe I'll try to get him on. Yep. Look, there it is. Yeah, I mean, this is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Good. Mark apparently roasted Trump on, he told me he roasted Trump on Fox Business with Kudlow. Good. I just attacked Kudlow here. Fucking GDP. You and you stupid ass. Iran and GDP. Stupid. Absolutely stupid. Tulsi, she's fantastic. And she's one of the people who I think are going to, I think she's going to have a good argument to distance herself, because I think that Tulsi's going to easily be able to say they left me out of shit, because they did. Except they did bring her in during the Georgia thing, because again, Bondi was supposed to be moved on that 6 months ago. And we're not the only ones, guys. For months and months and months, John Solomon, who's not exactly a bomb thrower, okay? Anyone have John Solomon's loyalty in doubt or his ethics as a journalist? He's been saying for months that Bondi is killing MAGA, killing it. There is no accountability coming if Bondi is the head of the DOJ, is the Attorney General. So that's why Tulsi needed to do that. Plus any, I will tell you, there could be some very good things on election fraud coming. I do know that. He's obsessed with it. Obsessed with two things, or he was at that time: getting rid of the filibuster and proving that the 2020 election was stolen. And I do understand his obsession with it. I do, because if we let them do something like that again, and David makes this point a lot, that you couldn't just move on from 2020. You just couldn't move on from it. They changed it forever. They changed the game forever. They removed the president with a pandemic that they probably leaked themselves. Think about that. Or at least there's the possibility they did. Even if they didn't and it got out somehow, then we put people who are responsible for engineering the virus in charge of not only public health policy, but political policy and economic policy to a great degree. An enormous, again, this is why these younger voters, 45 and down, Jack is right. That pivot point really is more 45. 45 and down is like the big lie is everything from the Iraq war to COVID and to Biden's senility. All of it, because that gets wrapped up in COVID. And they wanted people to pay for this. They wanted people to pay. You think you're going to focus on GDP, Larry? You live in a fucking other world. He squandered the first year of his presidency, and now we're going to lose the midterms. And when these wackos take over, I really believe Civil War II is on. I'm terrified of what comes after this, Thornton. I'm terrified. My biggest fear is that it won't come right. Something like that won't come right away. These people are going to shift hard left. They're going to elect the most crazy left-wing person we could ever imagine. I'm thinking it's going to be AOC, because you have to get through a Democratic primary and you have to win non-whites to do it. And the country will go into mass chaos after 4 years, and then we'll start killing each other like that. I really do worry about that. We don't have the time that all these other political commentators think we have. We simply don't have that. We've never been in this position as a country like this. Never. We've never been this much in debt. We've never been this destitute with the American dream. We just haven't. We haven't had such huge wealth gaps ever, not even during the Gilded Era. It's bad. We have a golden candidate in JD, and I'm worried he's going to lose in 3 years. Have you reached out to Trump's people to show them the poll? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah. I don't know if you know this. I mean, well, I don't want to go and like advertise it, but I mean, it's just, I tell them all the time I'm at their disposal. When the White House calls, you answer whether you like them or not, or you agree with what they're doing or not. You do it because it's a reverence for the people who put them in that office. It's a respect for the office itself. And ultimately, it's not just the office. It's the respect for the voters who are supposed to be in charge of that office. So they know this. I mean, they know this. He laughed about it. He did laugh, like the vice president did laugh about it, and I told him, although, 3 years is a long time. Sure. I mean, we're giggling about this right now, but if in a year or so we're sitting here again and things have not improved, I'm deadly serious. Do not run. Do not run. You're going to get killed. Wait till 2032. Try to keep yourself relevant somehow. If, God forbid, but if Republicans don't blow the census allocation, it will be extremely, extremely difficult for a Democrat to win the White House. Extremely difficult. By the way, one of the things I brought up. Where is the challenge to counting illegals in the census? The Supreme Court did not rule on the merits. They told then Secretary Wilbur Ross that the Commerce Department did not go through it the right way and tried to do it at the last minute. Well, why wouldn't you establish this now? Because if you wait, like you always do, because you're too busy spending money on parties at Mar-a-Lago so you can dress up like fucking furries and get drunk. That's what the right does with their money. It's ridiculous. And they pass around their show wives hoping you'll sleep with one of them so then you'll say whatever they want you to say on their show. It's ridiculous. I'm just so over the charade. I'm so sick. I'm just so over. Where is that court challenge? You think Democrats, if the roles were reversed, wouldn't have been all over that by now? If you can get them to stop counting illegals in the census, Democrats will lose more than 20 seats like that off the rip. But come 2032, the Electoral College will shift from the coastal states in the Midwest to the Sun Belt. You won't even have to win Michigan and Wisconsin anymore. You won't even have to win Pennsylvania anymore after some time. You'll just have to win the Sun Belt states. From North Carolina and Georgia, of course, you'll have to keep the rest of them in Florida, up until Arizona and Nevada. And everything that is Trump right now outside of the Midwest. It will be that much easier to win. You win Wisconsin or you win Pennsylvania, great. But I'm telling you, I don't even think Rubio could do that. I don't think he could win one of them. I think he'd probably lose Georgia. Not kidding. I'm not kidding. Not kidding. As of right now, it's hard to say. I mean, as a follow-up to that question, it's really hard to say. 6 months ago, he was killing every Democrat we put him up against. Now he's losing to every matchup we put him up against except for two. And the only reason why it's a little bit weird than what you'll see in other polling is because we're polling different tickets. And just so everybody knows, and there's no dispute, the rise of Rubio is a myth. He has gone nowhere in the polling. It is a astroturfed myth. And the strongest ticket doesn't even include Marco Rubio on it. It's Vance and Gabbard. That is the strongest ticket. And actually, we should re-poll it again because maybe it's Vance and Kennedy at this point. I don't know. Because Kennedy's the one who rose, not Rubio. Did I hear you correctly when you were with Barnes? 42% of Republicans now believe Trump is unduly influenced by the Israeli government. Yes. Yes. Terrible. I know. Disgusting. It's horrible. It's 42% of not Republicans. Sorry, just so you understand. It's 42% of Trump's 2024 vote. So of the voters who voted in 24, which, I mean, to give you the recalled vote is perfect in this. It was like Trump 49.8, Kamala 47.9. It was like right on the money. It was really, really close to the actual popular vote. But it was just Trump voters from 2024. 42% said that Trump, that the full thing is conflict with Iran, considering new strikes on Iran, is not in America's interest. The only reason Trump is doing it is because Israel has too much influence over the Trump administration. And we said, tell us whether you agree or disagree with that. Terrible. No, not disagree or disagree. Why are we doing this? And it's not in the U.S. interest. Israel has too much influence. It's just horrible. And I saw that. And I'm like, please go down. 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 Like I'm watching it as it was collecting for days. Please go down. It didn't. I mean, it went down somewhat because at one point it was like 50.2 to 49.8. It was like really close. I'm like, oh my God. And then it eventually eased up some, but there's some other doozies in here too with Trump voters. You want to see it? Look, it's not terrible. He's like 17% disapproval. 18%. That's not horrible. But on about a quarter of them disapprove of how he's handling the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Only about 17% disapprove the situation in Venezuela. Iran, also 20%. So what does that tell you there? Inflation and cost of living, 27% disapprove of that. Only 15% roughly with the economy and jobs, 4 plus 7, 11% with border security and immigration. 10 plus 16% on foreign policy, disapprove. And these are Trump voters from 2024. 27% on the Russia-Ukraine war. I mean, look, they don't want violence. They just want a domestic agenda. Actually, speaking of which, let's see where that question is with Trump voters. By the way, of Trump's voters, only 80% are voting for the Republican candidate in the midterms. The rest are split between third parties, the Democratic candidate, or undecided. The undecideds break 51-41 for Republicans. So they're actually winning the undecideds of Trump's undecided vote, but they're only winning 51%. They didn't mind snatching up Maduro. They didn't. Speaking of which, Trump's voters, 72% of them think Maduro's guilty. Do you suppose they're taking military action? They don't. It's like 30% do not want military action against Iran. 33.8 somewhat oppose. It's more than that. Sorry. 33.8 somewhat oppose. 15.5 strongly oppose. So that's how you get majorities with Republicans. Do you support or oppose the U.S. taking military action for the purpose of regime change? Even worse, so there's no need to go into that. Which comes closer to your view regarding why the U.S. is deciding whether to take military action against Iran. 42.3%. Iran is a vital security interest to Israel. The rest is said that Iran is a vital security interest to the U.S. But 42.3%. So again, we have more than 4 in 10 saying that it's because of Israel. And here's the question. Do you think that Israel has too much influence over U.S. foreign policy, or is it just enough influence? And it's more than that now. 37.4 40. It looks like 46.3. It's now 46.3. So it's actually higher. Trump voters, their priorities for the election: cost of living, inflation, the economy and jobs, immigration, border security, crime and safety, healthcare, and Obamacare. Kidding me. What a joke. Too focused on, even among Trump's own voters, 40% say he is too focused on foreign affairs, not enough on domestic affairs. Balanced is just at balanced. Their focus has been balanced and is just about right. With Trump's own voters is only 50%, and it's right at 50. The rest say too focused on domestic issues, not enough on foreign affairs. Huge amount now, like 20% more are identifying as independent. So of Trump's vote, he had a more independent and Democratic vote than Republican candidates have in the past, and much less conservative. Like only 58% say they're conservative. 36% said they were moderate. It's like 6 and change or something said they were liberal. It's just really, 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 really disheartening to see all of that go away, because it's so hard. It's so hard to win moderates as a Republican. They're always trying to squeeze more out of the stone, of the conservative stone. And Trump did so well with moderates. I'm not saying 36% of moderates voted for Donald Trump. He won more of that. That was the share of his overall coalition that described themselves as moderate. And it's just going to be so difficult to get that back. So difficult. By the way, even when you look at the Democrats who voted for Donald Trump, 26% said they were socialists. I'm not kidding. 46% said they were Democratic socialists. 11% called themselves traditional liberals. His coalition was 53% male, 52.5, and it was 47.5% female. That's about right. That's about right. Nice chunk of African Americans. Nice chunk. Tragic. Really tragic. Anyway, that's not coming back. Not anywhere. Not anywhere in the future. Can DeSantis be the outsider candidate in 20? Yes. Yes. This is what I'm like. Let DeSantis win. If it's this environment, if we're in an environment where JD Vance can't beat Ron DeSantis in the primary, it's because of how bad the Trump administration dirtied him up. So you should need to just, otherwise he's going to stomp DeSantis and Rubio. If you're in that position, then you should just bail, let DeSantis and Rubio fight it out. Whichever one of them gets the nomination goes on to get their ass kicked, because they're going to, and then be the I told you so candidate. I know it's going to be hard, and you're going to have to stomach for 4 years watching the country go to shit. But you'll be the I told you so candidate in 2032. That's his only shot at this point. And I'm not saying it can't change. I'm just saying, like, this is where we are. Ed says, I voted Trump 3 times. Now I align with Fuentes. I'll tell you what. Fuentes had a big audience all through 24, told everybody not to vote for Trump and Vance. Not enough people didn't listen, I guess, because Trump won overwhelmingly. And now we hear this all the time. It's like, and not for nothing. It's like, I don't even blame you for searching for somebody else to have answers. I don't want you to do that. But I don't blame you for it. And that's actually what I'm at. I am nervous about where people turn to if Trump fails these people. Andrew said, I popped on Locals and saw your headline, laughed to myself. Why isn't this obvious to people? I know. It's like, you have to be an idiot at this point. I'm sorry. I never like to insult people, but you have to be not an idiot, but you got to be a sycophant. Somebody who your cognitive dissonance is like way off the charts. All right. Your affirmation seeking is way off the charts. You got to get a grip, because if this isn't obvious to you right now, then he's going in the 30s. I'm telling you, he's going in the 30s. We can't take another 24, 48-hour news cycle of what we've had without him falling in the 30s. He will. And as soon as those bombs go loose, he'll get a tiny little blip from the Northeast. They'll be like, yes, you fucking moron. Yes. And then everyone's going to go down in the 30s. And that's what's going to happen. Trump GOP are all captured. Won't change till they decide what's more important. And I think they have, though. Haven't they already decided what's more important? Let's be honest. Haven't they, though? Haven't they? I think they have. There's a couple F Donald Trumps in here. There are people paying money to me just to put Donald Trump in the chat and hoping I read it out. That's where we're at. And I know these are people like, guys, you voted for Donald Trump, I assumed, right? If they prosecute Pam Bondi as other corrupt admin people, plus Democrats who have done similar stuff, would that turn things around? I mean, they're really trying to that. I think I may be the only person who will sit my ass in the White House and tell them they got to police their own people. I do think that if they made a good, faith effort to police their own trash, to police their, then I do think so. I do. I just don't believe they're going to do it anymore, because let's be honest. I mean, how long has it been? They've had this opportunity. They've brought every single one of us in there already, and they're not listening. The donors are winning. We come in you're not retarded. Obviously, this is what you have to do. They do know. And then the donors come in and say, guess what? They don't give you the fucking money. And that's winning. You need to learn to appreciate the 5D chess, comrade. Thank you, Mr. Grilled Cheese. I needed that. Why don't Vance or preferably Trump start going down to do town halls, even if they're digital ones? I'd take a week off of work and drive to Washington if it meant I could give them a piece of my mind. Voted for the dude twice in the heavily purple metro ATL area at the cost of personal and professional relationships. This is why I think that it's starting to really piss people off now, or it started to already, because people suffered, because real people suffered to support him. You know, people sacrificed in that battle, and it's not been worth it. It's just not been worth it to them. And I totally understand your point of view. Like, honestly, I mean, I didn't do it for Trump, but I created the polling critic industry. I made it up, being the only one who was willing to criticize them. And it wasn't for Trump, it was for the voter. It got me blacklisted. It cost me millions of dollars. So, like, believe me, guys, I understand where you're coming from. You know, I've lost family relationships because I'm the people's pundit. You know, I'm not going to get them back now because I'm being consistent and looking out for the voter over a political party and politicians. It's not going to earn those relationships back. They're gone. They're gone forever. So I understand. I do. Rich, what is the line going to be when Dems do their retribution? I don't know. I'm thinking 4 to 7 steps down the road, and the GOP is saying, oh, I'll stop them. Then no one is going to believe them. I don't know. I don't think there's going to be a line. They look at what they got away with, bro. Look at what they got away with. They engaged in a coup against the duly elected president over a fucking lie, a complete fabrication, and a ludicrous one at that. Vladimir Putin stole the election for Donald Trump, and Trump helped him. Then nothing happened. The Ukraine, Russia hoax 2.0, the COVID pandemic hoax, which was a con. Yeah, there was obviously a real virus. They wouldn't even let us bury our loved ones. They made executive orders that stuffed our elderly loved ones in a isolated, insulated place where they contracted the disease and died. They marked down on the death certificates of our loved ones that had stage 4 fucking cancer, that they died of COVID, so they could collect $3,500 extra bucks from the taxpayers, which is you and I anyway, that they scammed. They are scamming. I mean, they lied to us about our president. He was senile. The Chinese installed him by exploiting mass unsolicited mail-in balloting without verification procedures, which they put a moratorium on unilaterally and without constitutional approval in any of those states to do so. They got away with it, and now they're going to get away with this too. So, like, with Trump's help, which is the worst part of it all, there isn't going to be a line. That's not true, because Cernovich is right. There's going to be a line, the one they line us all up on and mow us down. That's and I'm not, that'll be the line, brother. They're Marxists, dude. Like, this is no joke. And they're going to get control of their government back after this annoying little man goes away. And they're going to raise holy hell. We're going to need someone further to the right of JD in 28, someone who will actually confront the left, someone on the same wavelength as Fuentes. I hear you, brother. I understand. I do think that you would be pleasantly surprised by the real person JD is. I'm not saying he's acting right now. I'm just saying he's not Donald Trump. He's not like, oh, I'm just a pragmatic guy. I feel bad for Jeb Bush. We got to have love for these immigrants. I've been wrong for 10 years. You guys are pretty racist. That ain't JD. Can you believe this guy? All of a sudden, like, the voter is like, I don't even know what to say. The entire GOP behaves like a woman in an abusive relationship. Let's just go. Yeah. And that's so true. And now, like, they expect the voters to do that. They expect you, the voters who were told for 10 years that you're not racist for wanting all these illegals out of your country. You have every right to want them out. You live in a sovereign country, the sovereign voter, and we're going to get them out because they're not even sending their best. They're rapists, they're criminals, they're raping our women, they're killing our women, Laken Riley, right? Kate's Law, all of it. And now all of that, complete 180 to you don't have a heart. Oh my God. Oh my God. And where is it coming from? And the insulting thing about it is we all know where it's coming from. The GOP donor class got in there. I could tell you exactly who they met with. I could tell because I know. It's gross. And why? Because people like Mark and I were saying you can't go after just the little guys and then allow your donor friends to get away with what they do, the role they serve in illegal immigration. Oh my God! Can't go after the donors. Then they fight back. Don't you dare. As a matter of fact, we paid you a lot of money. You're going to make sure all those people who came here during Biden that now fold my laundry, get under my desk when I ask them to, and mow my lawn. They're not going anywhere, man. They need green cards, man. Oh my God, such a betrayal. All the research we did too showed that there was a path forward with certain things, but like major deal breakers right off the rip. Nobody who came in during the Biden era could be part of the deal. No, period. It must come with nationwide voter ID. Must. You don't get to vote immediately anyway. After you need to earn the right to vote. There's just a waiting period, a voting waiting period. Very, very limited. How limited? You must have these ties to your community. How long have you had that job? What is your family like in here? You will not be able to bring in your abuela and every 80 fucking cousins you have waiting over the border. Like it was very, 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 what's the word I even used? Let me look at the report. Nuances. There are many nuances in the data. And he goes out and steps on a landmine right away. Boom! You can't even use the word immigration reform. So do me a favor and fermez la bouche. Don't even talk until I get you the new vocabulary. You know, I really love to do immigration reform. Oh my God, this fucking guy. All right, let's see. Did I go through all? I think I did. I got to go back to Ben's and watch that video, Rocket. What are you saying here? I was not lost on. It was not lost on me. Ben's did not bother making his message to Trump directly, nor the Rhino-controlled GOP. I'm terrified in the next 10 years for the USA. Yeah, me too. Failure was like, I don't think people appreciated how bad the failure, like a failure would end up, you know? You're listening to the show right now, buddy? A long time no see. I hope you and your family are well. I told him, don't say anything. Don't say anything. Don't say anything yet. Obviously somebody knows. Because that dude thinks he knows everything, brother. That's why. Because he's a very difficult man to deal with. Very difficult. He just thinks his shit doesn't stink. He thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. It's like, yeah, I only interviewed 100,000 people. Like, what the fuck would I know? You just instinctively know all those nuances? Oh my God, bro. You're the most gifted man on the planet. What else can you do? Can you pull a rabbit out of your hat too, bro? Holy God. All right. Don't forget, guys. Reminder, if you contribute to the Public Polling Project, make sure that you don't have a reoccurring contribution set if you don't want it set. So go in and check, go sign in on your portal on Big Data Poll. You'll see Public Polling Project, hit the little arrow down thing. It'll give you a way to log into your dashboard. If you don't remember the password, the email you use to contribute, you'll be able to reset it super easy. If you do have a reoccurring and you want one, just make sure it's in the proper campaign, because there's no contributions, not none, but there's barely any contributions, like 5 reoccurrings going into the current campaign. We'll never hit the mark like that. So make sure you go in there, you stop the one you're doing, and you can redo the next one when you're ready, and I just don't want you guys giving to something. I don't want 2 things. I don't want you guys having a recurring contribution you don't recognize you have, you don't realize you have. And then, because I don't want you spending your money if you don't want to spend your money. And there's a checkbox when you contribute. And I think a lot of people don't realize they're checking that checkbox. It's unchecked by default. A bunch of people checked it without realizing it. And then the second thing is, if you do want a recurring contribution, I want you to make sure that you're doing it in the right one. It will say Q1 2026, national polls for Q1, or polls, whatever, for Q1 2026. All right. That's the one you're looking for. What else? Do I have anything else I got to add to it? Probably not. I'll just leave it at that. All right. And don't forget, if you like the videos, to like them, to share them far and wide. Tomorrow is Friday. Again, I'm all alone here, remote learning, because all the ice is on the road. It's because the buses, I guess, can't get the kids to school in every development. So, I mean, I can rock. The Wagoneer is crushing it. I can go where I please. But I get it. I guess some of the developments aren't safe, and we're getting another wintry mix tonight. So they did it again. So it might be a little bit hard for me to do the regularly scheduled program. If that's true, I'm going to stuff one in. We need to really pay attention this weekend to see if Trump falls below 40. I hate to say it, but it's not going to take much more for him to fall below 40. And that is just really bad. If you go back and look at our approval trend for Biden, of which I've got to update with the last couple of, because we always, even during the election, the tracking polls leading up to the election, we still did Joe Biden's approval. I have to go and put that stuff in. But if you look at it, he didn't stay in the 30s very long. It's just that once you get in there, that's why you sound the alarm at 45. Once you get to 45, 44, you sound the alarm. People I could see on Twitter today reacting to Mark and I. Mark's got him at 41 too. Reacting to, oh no, this is bad. No shit, Sherlock. It was bad at 45. You sound the alarm and you say you have to course correct now, because if you fall any more than this, you are at risk of a complete collapse. This is not the America of Ronald Reagan or even Bill Clinton. You get hurt and the political instincts start to harden. You can't change it. You can't. That's what was so remarkable about Trump's turnaround after his first administration, which always had a hope for economic prosperity that people do not have right now. That's why it's even worse this time. It's even more dangerous this time. What turned it around? Well, it wasn't only Trump. It was the lies that the Democrats told. Look how long it took, though. It may have been quick for historical standards for former presidents, but it was forever for the average American. Look at what we had to endure. Almost 10% inflation. Persecutions. Dead service members because they can't even withdraw from a fight they're running from. They can't even withdraw from it competently. Have we forgotten what an utter disaster it was? How many more 4-year terms of shit like that can we tolerate before we just fail? Fake sense of security. America's going to be around forever. I disagree. So the alarm bells shouldn't have begun ringing when he lost his. Look at how long Obama kept his approval positive. Long time. Especially after he was elected for a second term. No bueno. No bueno. But Obama never really fell that much. Like, he didn't get 43s and 45s like that. When he was negative, he was like 45 to 47, you know? And he would do things at 45. He pushed the envelope and then he'd stop. Then he'd do something again really bad, but then he'd stop. Trump just seems to be like putting salt in the wound over and over. It's like the guy wants to collapse. It's unbelievable. It's like he wants to collapse. Unbelievable. All right. Yeah. So with that in mind, either way, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Don't forget to like the videos if you like them. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all the super chats. Thanks for the shares. Thanks for the support. Public polling project's up, and we'll see you tomorrow. All right. Don't forget to like. And of course, the best place to follow us is on Locals. Why is it not up there? I have no idea. Hello. peoplespundit.locals.com. peoplespundit.locals.com. And I'll see you guys soon. All right. Thanks, guys. All the best. And if you're in the wintry mix area, of course, be safe. I'm having a blast. Deuces. I was about to play the Alien song. That'd have been fun. Later. And pray that my charcoal 3-piece comes today. Supposed to, but it's been backed up because of the weather. Come on, charcoal 3-piece.